Hi guys, this is Lisa with the Barnyard Chicken, and I'm going to be doing a craft with me today, and I'm going to take you along. This will be a long video, so I'm going to be making these traveler's notebooks. This is the regular size. I don't know if I will get to both sets, but you can make one of each. You can make a regular size and a mini out of a 12 by 12 sheet of cardstock. So I'm just going to be doing them step by step. I'm going to do an entire paper pad. So we're going to break down an entire paper pad and make these. I'm going to be using this paper pad here. I got this Hot Buy paper pad from Michael's. This is Floral Romance, and yeah. So this is the pad we're going to be using right here. And I'm going to be able to use most every sheet out of there. And we're going to cut them down, laminate them, score them, poke holes in them, string them up, and make these adorable little traveler's notebooks. These are all really great for any occasion, weddings, anniversaries, baby shower gifts, and or party favors, and for like a wedding or a baby shower. They make great stocking stuffers as well. I do realize Christmas is still 12 months away, but yeah. These also make really good guild gifts if you belong to a guild and you have a Christmas party or a Secret Santa. So like I would make one of these for every person in my guild for Christmas because they are so simple and easy to make. Anyway, these particular ones are 6.5 inches tall by 9.5 inches wide before they are folded in half. And this is an inch spine here. So yeah, it's got 4 elastics in it, and then a band that goes around the outside. So we can sit here and chit chat about this all day or get started. This will be a long video. So yeah, anyway, here is another one that I made. I have added some stamping and spraying to this one to jazz it up a little bit because some of the papers were a little, they needed a little extra something something. And here are the notebooks that we are putting in here. And it has a 1-inch spine here, and I have scored it at 1/8 inch intervals, so like 4 1/4 all the way to 5 1/4 at 1/8 of an inch intervals. You can just do 3 if you like, but I find it easier to make them all the way across and then put your dot on these 3 in the center, and that's where you would put your holes. Anyway, let's get started. Okay, so first of all, we're going to take our paper pad and take all the sheets out of it. And I have already taken the sheets out of here so that you wouldn't have to sit here and watch me. You can use any paper pad you want. You don't have to use an entire paper pad, but I'm going to. Anyway, I'm going to take this piece of paper here, and we're going to cut it down. So you can get 2 books out of this, out of a 12 by 12. Here's my paper cutter. I'm going to zoom you out a little bit. This is a Fiskars Precision paper cutter. I'm going to take this page here. This is a 12 by 12 sheet of cardstock, and I'm going to put it in here, and I'm going to cut this at 6.5 inches So I'm at my 6.5 inch mark here, and I'm just going to cut this 6.5 inches this way, and which leaves me 5.5 inches. So this one here is 5.5 inches. And these books are 5 1/4 by 8.5. So I'm going to cut 1/4 of an inch off of this one. So I'm going to cut this at 5 1/4. So really you're only cutting this much off, but it really is too big at 5.5. And then I will have 2 pieces like this. So each 12 by 12 inch piece of paper you'll get 1 of each size. And I'm going to cut all of the paper from this paper pack down, and I will be back. Okay, I have all of my pages cut in half. So now I have a 6.5 by 12 inch and a 5.5 by 12 inch piece, and I'm going to cut these down to 6.5 by 9.5 and 5 1/4 by 8.5. And so I'll get the whole paper pad here cut down, and so I'll be able to make this many traveler's notebooks out of this. And here are a few sheets that I didn't cut down because of obvious reasons of the print, but this is beautiful. So I have 1, 2, and I don't know why this one's in here. I don't know why this one's in here. I could have cut that one down. I just missed it. I didn't cut this one down, so that's 3, 4, and I didn't cut this one down either. 5, 6. You could cut this down. 7, 8. So I have these 8 pages out of this book that I wasn't able to cut down. This is the one I'm going to do next. But okay, so 8 of these. I'm going to cut this last one out, and then I will be right back. This actually may have been the one that I saved to cut down to show you. Laugh out loud. Okay, so I'm going to cut this one at 6.5 inches. Six and a half. And then I'm going to cut this one at 5 1/4. Voila. Okay, so now all I have to do is take this 6.5 by 12 one and cut this one down to 9.5 inches. So I'm cutting this one down to 9.5 inches. Just checking my work. So this one is 6.5 this way and 9.5 this way. And then all you have to do is round the corners. Voila. And then you'll have this much left, and you can use this to make a page marker. These are only single-sided sheets as well. So I'm going to cut this one down to 8.5. 8.5. And I will use this as a page marker as well. And there you go. This one is 5 1/4 by 8.5. And the reason I make these 8.5 is because if I want to use regular copy weight copy paper, it is 8.5 inches, and all I got to do is fold them in half. And yeah, so there's that. So basically, this is what you will get. You will get a 5 1/4 by 8.5 and a 6 1/2 by 9 1/2. You'll get one of each out of a 12 by 12 sheet of paper. And the reason I keep saying 12 1/2 is because I'm a quilter and we do everything in 12 1/2 anyway, or whatever, something in a half. Anyway, so I am going to go ahead and take all of these pages and cut them down to 6 1/2 by 9 1/2, and then 5 1/4 by 8 1/2. And I will be back because I know you don't want to sit here and watch me do all that. So I have all of my pages cut down, or I have quite a few of them cut down. I just thought we'd move to the next step. These here are 5 1/4 by 8 1/2, 8 1/2 by 5 1/4, and these here are 6 1/2 by 9 1/2. So the bigger ones for the regular size TNs are 6 1/2 by 9 1/2, and the minis are 5 1/4 by 8 1/2. So now all I really have to do is corner around them, and I like this little one that came with my laminator. I like how it looks, and so I'm just going to go around and trim all my corners. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to sit here and punch all of these out until I get them all done, and I will be back. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you know how to corner punch. So you can use any kind of corner punch you have or you like. I have several, but this one I just like how it looks. And or you can draw it with a pencil and cut it out with a pair of scissors, whatever's easier for you and or you like doing. So whatever mood I'm in, that's what I do. So this here is what I'm using today. I really like this. So I'm going to sit here. I'm going to go ahead and get these 2 stacks corner rounded, and I'll be back so you don't have to sit here and watch me do this all day. Okay, so we're going to do a quick recap here, and so what you'll need for this project is a 12 by 12 sheet of paper, and we're going to put the paper in the cutter, and we're going to cut the paper down to 6 1/2 inches. All right, 6 1/2 inches. Here's my 6 1/2 inch mark. Okay, so we're going to cut 1 6 1/2 inches, and then we're going to cut 1 5 1/4. So this one will be 5 1/4 inches. All right, and then we'll take the one that's 5 1/4 inches and cut it down to, we'll cut it down to 8 1/2. Okay, so we're going to cut this one at 8 1/2. So it will be 8 1/2 by 5 1/4. And you'll have this little piece left over. And this one here is 8 1/2 by 5 1/4. Okay, we're going to take the 6 1/2 one and cut it down to 9.5 inches. So this one is a 6.5 by 9.5. And there we go, 6.5 by 9.5. You'll have a piece about this big. So these are the two end pieces that you'll have. You can use these for bookmarkers and page markers or whatever you'd like. And so now we have a 6.5 by 9.5, and then we have a 5.25 by 8.5, and then we will round the corners on these here, just like this. Round these as well. Almost missed one. Should have been doing my counting. Okay, so now let's get the laminator out. Move the cutter out of the way. Okay, I got my laminator out. I've had it warming up while I was working. And I'm going to take one of my laminating pouches. This one's kind of big. You can use whatever you have on hand. This one's like 11 by 17 or something like that. Anyway, I'm going to take my 8.5, my 6.5 by 9.5 one and put it in here. And then I will put my 5.5 inch one in here. And I normally try to use all the space available so I don't waste any. Okay, and I'm going to put this page marker in there. And then I'm just going to send this through the laminator. And bring the laminator back over here. I'm going to send this through the laminator once, and then I'm going to cut them apart, and then I'm going to send it through the laminator one more time. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get my cutter back out so I can cut these apart. And yeah, it's as simple as that. It's just a process. And I would normally fill all this space up and put it in there better, but I was just doing a quick overview of of the steps we're doing. I actually have all of these rounded and ready to go. All they need is laminated. And I could have put 2 in there if I'd have turned that. I just got in a little hurry. thought it was done. It doesn't look like it's moving. Okay, so then I'm going to just cut these apart. And just going to leave a little bit of an edge around the outside. You can cut these with scissors. I do cut them with scissors most of the time. But I had my cutter out, so I just thought I'd use it. After I get them cut out, I will use my corner rounder again. I don't want to get the little pieces on top of my laminate, so voila, I did all 4 corners. And I will run it back through the laminator. While I'm doing that, I'll go ahead and cut these down as well. And then I will round these corners. 1, 2, 3, 4. This one's ready to go through the machine. I'm going to go ahead and cut this off. And this one is ready. And we'll go ahead and put this one through. While that one's going through, I'm going to go ahead and round the corners. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Voila. These are just single-sided. They're pretty either way, but I'm just using the Hot Buy paper pads from Michaels, so they are single-sided. This one here is a double-sided paper. And this one here was a single-sided paper, but I decorated this side, and this is what the paper actually looked like. And the back was white, and I just, you know, decorated it. Stamping and sprays and stuff. This is the last one I have to send through. This will be my page marker, and then here is my mini traveler's notebook, and it just needs to be scored. This one's running through. I'm going to get my cutter out of the way. I'm going to get my scoreboard ready here so we can score this. I got my lines marked on here. And we're going to go ahead and do the large one here. I meant to get my score tool, but I'm just going to use this here. This is a stylus. It's like a BlackBerry stylus from back in the day. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I had 4 of these in a package, and I'm never used. So pulled it out to see if this would work, and it actually did work. So I'm just like, oh yeah, cool. So this one here is almost ready. And we'll just take this one here, and let's move this stuff out of my way. I'll get a little closer. Anyway, so this is going to be the outside. So I'm going to score on this side, and I'm going to line this up with this edge of the board, and I'm not going to line it up with the laminate. I'm going to line it up with the edge of the paper, and I have made these marks here. You can put it on this side if you want, but you have to move this over where the paper is at the edge. So I'm just doing it the opposite way, and lining the paper up to the edge, not the laminate. And then my marks are going to be 4 1/4 here, 4 1/4. And then I'm going to do another 1/4 of an inch right here, 1/4 of an inch over from that. And then the next mark is 4 3/4, I believe. And then I'm going to do 1/4 of an inch from that. And then I'm going to do 1/4 of an inch from that, which I believe is 5 1/4. 5 1/4 inches. So I've done them 1/4 of an inch apart. You will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines. You can just put 3 if you want, but I find it easier to put all 5 lines. And that's what they look like. They are 1/4 of an inch apart. And if you line this up over here, you can see it's at 4 1/4, 4 1/2, 4 3/4, 5, and 5 1/4. That is the measurements. 4 1/4, 4 1/2, 4 3/4 is your center. 5 and then 5 1/4. That is the 5 lines that I have on here. And I'll show you why I went ahead and did 5 lines, because I'm going to take my magic marker here and mark 1/4 of an inch from the end. And I'm going to take and I'm going to mark the center line here, the one in the center. I'm going to mark it at about 1/8 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch from the bottom, right here. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the 2 lines that are 1/4 of an inch away from it. So this line in the center is 4 3/4. This one is 5 inches, and this one is 4 1/2. And I'm going to put my little marks on there, that way that I know where to punch my holes. It needs to be about 1/8 of an inch from the bottom of the paper, not the laminate. So I'll do that again. I'm going to put one in the center, then one on either side of that. And then I'll put one in the center here, which the center is 3 1/4, I believe. Yeah, 3 1/4, and 3 1/4 is 6 1/2. So just kind of guess at it. This is 3, this is 3 1/4. It's going to be about right here somewhere. And I put it on that center line right there. And then after we get that done, we're going to take our, you can use a hole punch, you can use a pokey tool, I have this pokey tool here, or a crocodile of some sort, some kind of pokey tool device. And then I'm just going to use, I'm using the 1/8 inch setting on this. It's the smaller of the two holes right here, and it's this front one here, right there. And I'll get a little closer where you can see. Hopefully you can see this better. So I'm going to just take this tool. You can take your hand tool, any kind of hole puncher. I'm going to punch this one here in the center, and then one on either side. I'm going to poke the one in the center, and then I'm going to turn it around and do the holes on the back side. Voila. Those are my holes. Now comes the easy part. We're going to string it up. So I'm going to take some of this elastic cord that I got from Amazon, and I'm just going to measure this 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'm going to cut it. And then I'm just going to fold on my outer 2 score lines. This one right here. I'm going to turn it around and score on the outer one here. Like that. You just need to determine which side you want up and which for the front. So I'm going to use this side as the front. I'm going to take my cord, I'm going to run it through the bottom here like this, and then I'm going to take my other end of the cord and put it in the far right hand hole. Then I'm going to bring it back up through the center and then down all the way to the bottom. I'm going to go out the center hole, and then I'm going to go back in to the last hole at the end like that, and then I'm going to go all the way up to the top to the last hole. I'm going to go out the last hole like that. You should be looking like this right here. Then I'm going to take, I'm in the back now, and I'm going to take this, and I'm going to run it back through the center hole like this. And then down to the bottom. And then this little piece here that we started with, we're going to turn that over to the back, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to take it and run it through the center hole as well. Come out the front, and then you will have something that looks like this on both ends. And then we're just going to tie this. We're going to tie it taut, but not too tight. We don't want it to be too tight. But just like that. It's all done. And then you can cut off your excess string right here, cording. And we have 4 bands now where you can add 4 books, or 2 books and 2 folders, or a book, a dashboard, whatever you want. And that's what it looks like so far. We're going to run a string through it now. So we'll take our cording again and we will just wrap it around the book like that. We're going to need about that much cording. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut that off. Then I'm going to tie a knot in it like this at the end. I'm going to pull it like this. Then I'm going to measure it to see how tight I need to make it. So just going to pull it this way a little bit. Then I'm going to tighten it. And then I'm going to take these two ends here and run it through the hole in the center that we punched. Back out the back side. Voila. And there's your book, or your cover. This is your cover for your traveler's notebook. And you can cut these off as small as you want. But that's it. It's so simple. And then you have 4 bands on the inside. Isn't that cool? And then you can do all kind of things with it from here if you want. Like this one here, I added 2 pockets. These are like the ones you can get from the dollar spot at Target. I got these from Amazon, and these also have a thumb hole here. I put one on either side, and I put a page marker in here. And yeah, so it's as simple as that. That's what you think. I took a couple of the pieces of paper that was in this pad and did some stamping and spraying and distressing on them because they were pretty plain. And so yeah, I just played with them a little bit, and I'm going to laminate them and see how they turn out. Anyway, I just thought I'd let you see them before I laminated them, and I'll let you see them after they've been laminated. Alrighty then, here are all my laminated bits. These are the papers. I laminated them now, and so I'm going to show you. I really do like these, and so I did some stamping and some spraying on them to spruce it up a little bit. This is the original side here, and it had some kind of little polka dot background, and so I have some sprays and stamps on this to make it more interesting. I really love the way they turned out, and I'm glad I did it, but it was a little more work than I anticipated. Anyway, these are I made some little bookmarkers. Here's how they look. And then I just went ahead and laminated some pieces from another pad that I had cut out, and so I didn't waste the little giblets at the end. Here's another one. I made 2 different sizes of these. I made a 5 1/4 and a 6 1/2. So this one is my 6 1/2, and this one is my 5 1/4. I can get a 5 1/4 and a 6 1/2 out of a 12 by 12 sheet. So, and here's another one. I really do love the way they turned out. And here's another. This is for the regular size one, 6 1/2. These are 6 1/2 by 9 1/2. And the smaller ones are 5 1/4 by 8 1/2. So and then made some little more page markers here. I really like this one. can really see the metallic in that spray. And here is the last 6.5 by 9.5 one. Anyway, I just thought I'd let you see the before and after. These turned out really good. I'm going to be making these little notebooks out of them. This is the bigger one. This is the 6.5 by 9.5 size ones, and they fit these little books here in there. And here's a page marker. Anyway, so yeah, that's what we're going to be making today. Anyway, here is one that I have completed. Really like this. This is the 6.5 by 9.5 wide before it is folded. And here's your elastic. And here's the inside. It will hold 4 books. There are only 3 in here, but there is 4 elastics. Here is the other elastic here. And I really like the way they turned out. It's really pretty. Wish you could see how well it looked in real life. Anyway, so I'm going to continue making these, and I hope you enjoyed this video on how I made these, and please like, comment, and subscribe. This is Lisa sending all my love and my